Hails and welcome to Rauta's Reviews. This time we have something new from Australia. Technically speaking, this album was released already in 2024, so a little bit late to the party, but here it goes. Atra Vetosus with a new album. Well, relatively new still. Comes with a nice digipack, and here is the album name, Undying Splendour. Now, this is indeed a really nice looking digipack. I'm a digipack fan, that goes without saying. This is something I mentioned, I guess, many times on the channel, so I always have a little bit time to, explain why I like them so much. There's the amount of colors and the packaging and just overall feel. Yes, I get there are some people who are more into jewel cases, so they're lost if they don't like this. This one comes with a thick booklet and as well a miniature poster. I don't know if you can call it a poster, but since there is nothing on the other side, I guess it counts as one. This is a peculiar band because it's been around for some 14 years now, starting in 2011 or so, if I remember correctly, starting with their first release in 2013. And during those years, the band has pretty much set their style in stone, except that now they're a little bit changing. This is one of those bands I would call green metal as opposed to black metal. And what does that mean is it's more like a black metal stylish extreme metal, but more the focus on nature and stuff. So the side of atmospheric black metal that has nothing to do with, opposing Christianity or Islam or religions in general, or talking about Satan, devil, and all that stuff. So in my opinion, when you remove all these elements, it's green metal, not black metal. And that is no means some kind of a negative comment, slander, or whatever. It's just to kind of point out that as much as certain subgenres are, to present themselves in different ways, be it about shoegaze, blackgaze, whatever, in my opinion, green metal is something different than your typical black metal. Don't blame me for that. I wasn't the one who created the idea that, hey, let's remove all the satans and the devils and the demons and whatever you have in terms of, let's replace them with nature topics. And let's also, by the way, remove rawness and all that stuff and, replace it with more beautiful things and like that. And then you're like, at which point this still is counted as it's like black metal. Yeah, sure, they have the raspy vocals, if that counts, and certain black metal kind of riffs. But the point goes on. The more you change things, eventually it ceases to be like that. How many wheels you can remove from a car and still call it a car, not a moped, motorcycle, whatever. Like I said, this is not about negative comment. It's just pointing out that the band has really been changing and kind of gone even further. It's not only like that, but this time this is musically also what I would say closer to post-black metal. Sure, there are traditional atmospheric black metal parts where it's just, having certain melody things, kind of a melancholia going on with the rather moody representation and all that stuff. And it's done with a fantastic production. Well, at least very good, if not fantastic. So what you have here is lots of good raspy vocal parts, lots of cool black metal melodies, the kind of atmosphere that goes with the really nice production and all that stuff. So what really makes this post-black? Well, first of all, lots of riffs which are more like, this is coming from a different territory. Close to traditional black metal, but not so much. This is more like the modern way to do it, a lot of different ways, and that's where you kind of exceed a certain kind of a barrier, invisible or not, and in my opinion, post-black. But remember what I was saying about green metal. Yeah, this is something that I would call actually post-green, because when you combine post-black with green metal, there you go. It's really that simple. Yes, I know some people are gonna get mad about this, and how can you create different genres and all together? Let me rewind some 30 years, maybe 20 years is enough. Would I have ever imagined there would be a subgenre known as blackgaze, when even shoegaze were barely something that we would later on understand? Now you get it. If we are allowing ourselves to have bands coming from, blackgaze, why not talking about post-green? Whatever it is worth, it's beautiful music, but nothing really related anymore to bands, say, Dark Throne or Mayhem or Marduk, or even less with Bathory, Celtic Frost, Venom, so on. So the raspy vocal is almost like the only clear indicator that this is even related to black metal, with certain riffs. On top of that, you have actually clean vocals. You have even a little bit growly vocals. You have things that sound like there's a violin playing. So I'm saying the further and further you take it from the original source, eventually it's a totally different beast. And that's what it is. So this is, in my opinion, closer to those bands which are like, Wolves in the Throne Room, the kind of a Cascadian black metal song. So very modern, very atmospheric, lengthy song tracks, and all that stuff. Now here comes the thing. This is indeed filled with lengthy songs. 9 minutes, 7 minutes, 7 minutes, 10 minutes, and another 11 minutes. The instrumental doesn't count because instrumentals tend to be rather short, more like interludes rather than stuff. So what you have here in essence is 5 lengthy tracks doing melodic, atmospheric black metal with parts that are rarely even seen as part of black metals, like growly vocals or clean vocals, etc. So post-screen it is. And like I said, it's not a negative statement, it's more like this is not for the audience who are looking for the next Clandestine Blaze album, or even, Mayhem for that matter. Or even less so if you're once again going for the really old school stuff. This reeks so much of 2020s that it's borderline annoying, except it's not. Like I said, the production is fantastic and the guys have some nice riffs, but to be honest, when you make 10 minutes of a track, I feel like you could have just cut it in 2 and make the songs a little bit more memorable. That's my really one take that kind of bothers me with lots of albums that have these lengthy songs. And now I know I sound very, very negative, but I'm going to point you out. This is more on the good side of things. It's not exactly platinum category bands, because that is very, very much reserved only for those bands and albums which are like 5 out of 5, and unfortunately this is not one of them. Would I say gold standard? Not really. Because there are these parts which kind of just bother me a little bit too much. But it's definitely a silver star band, or silver standard if you will. Meaning it's definitely on the good side of things. Definitely a decent release, and like I said, the production is really good. The vocals are doing their job fine, there are lots of nice riffs and all. But this album could be a lot more memorable. I hate when people are bitching about, how can you say black metal album is not catchy? It's not maybe supposed to be catchy, but when I'm thinking about catchy songs, I'm not talking about pop songs. I'm talking, the Freezing Moons and Funeral Fogs, or, To Walk the Infernal Fields and Catharian Life Codes. So even if you do a longer tracks, remember I was talking about Catharian Life Codes and make it memorable, or In the Shadow of the Horns and all that stuff. So a lot of good things here, but in my opinion, this band is now in so-called transition phase, because this is quite different than a lot of previous Atra Vetosus things, but also better than what their previous works. So in my opinion, they are actually, doing better than before, and they're working their way into the right direction. Makes me actually pretty much interested now more than before what this band is capable in coming years. But remains to be seen when you have this kind of a post-screen album that is not exactly black metal anymore, but surely has similarities or similar qualities with the typical atmospheric melodic black metal stuff. It's going to be interesting to see how they sound next. Will there be more clean vocals? Will there be more, additional female vocals, more growly ones, or whatever? It remains to be seen. Meanwhile, obviously, you do yourself a favor and give this album a go. Like I said, it's one of the better ones by this band, even if maybe the best one so far. So it's interesting to see how the band evolves in the future. A few complaints here and there, but totally just digestible, and off you go and give it a listen. Links are provided in the description box, and people, when you comment, please be civil or I fuck you off. Just kidding. Anyway, stay metal and check out the band. Bye bye.